for your page, but for your purchase. We are going to talk about trends, spending habits, and the influence of social media in our daily lives. Have you ever opened TikTok just to scroll for a few minutes, but suddenly ended up wanting skincare, new clothes, cute keychains, or things you didn't even plan to buy before? Or maybe after a stressful day, you told yourself, it's okay, I deserve this, and click checkout anyway? Well, you're definitely not alone. I am Dyah, Sari, and I will be your host for today's discussion. We are going to discuss about a topic that feels very close to young people and social media users. Did social media turn self-reward into a spending habit? Nowadays, self-reward is often seen as a form of self-care and appreciation. However, many people also believe that social media has changed it into a lifestyle trend that encourages impulsive buying and overspending. So, is self-reward really harming people emotionally? Or is social media turning it into a new form of consumerism? Well, that's what we are going to discuss today. Before we begin, let's meet our guests. Please welcome our first pro guest.
Hello, I'm Aulia Arbana, and I'm here as a first pro guest in talk show.
Thank you. Next, please welcome our second pro guest.
Hello everyone, my name is Tiara Arum Agustin, and I'm here as a second pro guest in this talk show.
Okay, now let's move to our first contra guest.
Hello everyone, my name is Aulia Rahma, and I'm here as a first contra guest in this talk show.
Thank you. And finally, please welcome our second contra guest.
Hello everyone, my name is Ridho Raditya, and I'm here as a second contract guest in this talk show.
Thank you everyone for being here today. Now, let's start our discussion. First, let's hear from our first pro guest. What do you think about self-reward culture on social media nowadays?
Okay, in my opinion, I believe that self-reward can become a positive spending trend because it helps people become more aware of their mental health and appreciate their own efforts. Nowadays, many students and workers are under pressure every day. Because of that, people need something that can help them feel relaxed and emotionally better. One reason why self-reward is important is because people often hard to work without giving themselves enough appreciation. Many people focus only on responsibilities, deadlines, and expectations until they feel stressed or even burned out. By giving themselves a small rewards, they can feel happier and more motivated and emotionally refreshed. In other words, self-rewards can help people maintain their mental well-being.
That's a very interesting point. So, according to you, self-reward can actually help people maintain their mental health and appreciate their hard work. But can you give us some examples of healthy self-reward and how can it become a positive spending habit instead of a harmful one?
For example, after finishing final exam, some students decide to buy their favorite food, go to a cafe, or watch a movie. Even though it looks simple, these activities can reduce stress and appreciate after studying hard for weeks. Another example is workers who buy small gifts for themselves after achieving a target at work. These rewards make them feel that their hard work is meaningful or valued. So, based on those reasons and examples, I think self-reward is just not about spending money carelessly. Instead, it can become a healthy way to improve mental health awareness and self-appreciation. However, people still need to live wisely and according to their financial condition. Therefore, I strongly support self-reward as a positive spending trend because everyone deserves appreciation for their hard work and emotional struggles.
I see. So, in your opinion, self-reward is not always negative as long as people understand their limits and manage their money responsibly. Now, let's move to our second broadcast. Some people think social media only encourages people to spend more money. But do you think social media can also give positive influences related to self-reward?
I agree that social media does not always give bad effects, especially on self-reward. I think social media can help people learn how to balance work and happiness. Nowadays, many students and workers feel stressed because of their responsibilities. So, they need time to rest and enjoy themselves.
That's a good point. So, from your perspective, social media does not always influence self-reward in a negative way. But can you give us some examples of how social media can help people become more aware of smart spending and financial habits?
Okay, for example, after finishing assessment or work projects, some people buy their favorite food, watch movies, or spend time with friends as a self-reward. I think small rewards like this are normal because they can make people feel happier and less stressed. Besides that, social media also teach people about smart spending. Many financial content creators share tips about saving money and budgeting. Some of them also remind that self-reward does not always mean buying expensive things. For example, some creators teach people to think first before buying something and not follow trends too much. Because of that, I think social media can help people become more careful with money. So, in my opinion, social media is not only about spending trends, but it can also teach people how to spend money wisely.
That's a good perspective. So, thank you for sharing your opinion. And so, the pro side believes that self-reward can support mental health and appreciate their hard work. And social media can also spread positive messages about balanced spending and financial awareness. However, not everyone agree with this idea. So now, let's hear from the contra side. For our first contra guest, do you think social media has changed the meaning of self-reward itself?
Yes, I do, because social media has changed self-reward into spending trend. This happens because social media has normalized impulsive buying. We see people every day, especially influencers, posting shopping hauls like skincare, makeup, clothes, or even any trending products. Also, many people say things like you deserve it or treat yourself. So people slowly think that the best way to feel happy or heal from stress is buy things, right? So, so sometimes people also buy things not because they need them, but because they want to follow the trends or even avoid the feeling of left out.
Oh, that's quite an interesting perspective. So, according to you, social media can normalize impulsive buying and create pressure to follow the trends. But can you give us some real examples of how social media influences people to spend money unnecessarily?
Of course, for example, many students buy fire products from TikTok even though they have similar items at home. Some people use shopping to cope with stress, but later they regret it because they spend too much money on them on unnecessary things. So social media also can make people compare themselves to others.
and feel pressure for their online lifestyles. So I believe that social media has changed self-reward into consumerism. So in my opinion that self-reward itself is not bad, but people should be more careful on their spends and more spend money wisely.
I understand. So, in your opinion, self-reward itself is not the problem, but social media can push people toward unhealthy spending habits and consumerism. Now, let's hear from our second contra guest. Do you think social media truly promotes self-care, or is it simply encouraging people to buy more things with more money?
In my opinion, social media doesn't actually encourage real self-reward. Instead, it tricks people to spend their money to things that they don't really need it with a level of self-reward. When people scroll their social media like Instagram or TikTok, they feel a pressure or impulse to buy things that's become not self-reward anymore. It turns into a form.
Oh, that's a strong opinion. You mentioned that many people buy things because of social media influence and FOMO rather than genuine needs. But do you have any evidence or examples that show how social media and algorithms affect people's spending habits?
Yes, of course. A study from North Wallet found that 50% of social media users have an impulse to buy something because they saw it on Instagram or TikTok. Platforms like TikTok Shop use algorithms to recommend products based on what people see or interest. In the end, I believe that social media didn't create healthy self-reward culture. Instead, it creates a spending culture with a level of self-reward.
That's a good point. Thank you to all of our guests for joining today's discussion. From this discussion, we can see that social media has both positive and negative influences in self-reward culture. On one side, self-reward can help people feel happier, more motivated, and more aware of their mental health. Social media can also spread positive messages about balanced spending and financial awareness. However, on the other side, social media can also encourage impulsive buying, consumerism, FOMO, and unhealthy spending habits. So, in the end, perhaps the most important thing is not whether self-reward is good or bad, but how wisely we can manage our spending habits and use social media responsibly. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to all of our guests for joining today's discussion. This has been FYP, not for your page, but for your purchase. See you next time and have a great day everyone!